Welcome to the SEAT77 Sports Desk. As always, I am Dave Dabbah, and I want to talk sports with you. North America, coming to you live and on tape from the plush Silicon Valley studios of SEAT77. Producer Buck wants me to jump in right now and tell you some very important news about the big show. We are now available on TuneIn Radio, so make sure you check us out. Subscribe to the SEAT77 channel on TuneIn Radio North America. Oh my gosh, have we got a big show for you. I can't wait to get into today's show. It's so fantastic. We're going to cover the horrific Minnesota Viking football game I witnessed in person last night after I spent like $1,000 to go to the game. We're going to cover Texas firing their athletic director. Goodbye, Mr. Steve Patterson. Bill O'Brien has no idea who his starting quarterback is going to be. Apparently, Mr. O'Brien hasn't looked at the video of me throwing the ball yet. We have Jim Harbaugh. Is the Harbaugh hangover officially over in the city of San Francisco? Chip Kelly gets melted by Matty Ice last night in Atlanta. And is Peyton Manning officially done? All of that and more on today's super big show. We're going to start things off with, is Peyton Manning officially done? Now look, I, like you, am a big Peyton Manning fan. I've loved him for years. And towards the end of last year, you could tell that he was done. His fastball, which was once 92 miles an hour, towards the end of last year was down into the low 80s. and this weekend, when I got home after traveling for like 18 hours yesterday to go to a game that's 45 minutes away, it was like 2 a.m. I put the Bronco game on, and I went back and I watched it. And Manning was throwing balls. He was missing wide receivers by 5 yards. He was throwing grounders. Like, Manning, you're playing football, not baseball. It's terrible. So Peyton went on the injured reserve list today. He will most likely play on Thursday, but I believe Mr. Manning's career is officially over. One other interesting note about all of this as we talk about Peyton Manning. If you think back to the middle of the summer, good old Tom Brady put out a tweet. And he said, hey, Peyton, you've got 1 good year left. I've got 7 good years left. Think about it. Look how good Tom Brady looked last Thursday night. Brady's like a Rolls Royce. Manning's like a Yugo. I mean, there's nothing left in the tank. It is sad. It is sad, sad, sad to watch. Now, at the end of after the game was over, poor Peyton Manning had to go do a press conference. I wish we had the audio of this, but we didn't get the audio. But here's what he said to a reporter who asked him a question. This is Peyton Manning. Do you need a catchy headline for your little article? Oh my gosh. And upset Peyton Manning during the post-game press conference. I can only imagine what will happen if he throws 3 or 4 more grounders on Thursday night. What will that press conference look like, North America? Make sure you tune into that if you have a chance. All right. So last night, I made the trek with one of my sons to the National Football League game at Levi Stadium. Really only, 45 minutes to an hour away from where we live. It took us like 3 hours to get there. We finally get there. We finally parked the car. We walked through all of the tailgating. Huge improvement over Candlestick. If you haven't been yet, just a huge improvement. So we did all of that. We sat down in our seats. We got food. We ate it. The game started. They pulled out, before the game started, they had this flag which covers up the entire field. It's the largest American flag I've ever seen in person. They did a flyby, which was awesome. All of the entertainment in and around the game was fantastic. A fantastic job by the San Francisco 49er football organization in putting on a good show on and off the field. That being said, the game starts. We're 5 minutes in, and it doesn't take long for my son to get inaugurated to what football is really like. 3 people away from me and 1 row up, there was a fight. a fight breaks out, and a bunch of people right around us got kicked out of the game. I'm not going to tell you how much our tickets were, but they were expensive. You spent that kind of money to throw down. It just makes no sense. So my son got to see what happens on the field, and he got to actually see a real fight in person. One other note about the game. As we walked out of the game, you know, I don't know what this is, but if you're drunk for some reason, please don't talk to my kid. I'm just saying. Please just you know, keep your I'm from Turlock and so is Colin Kaepernick to yourself, please. Oh my God. We had an interesting walk to the car, and I'll leave it at that. All right. So elsewhere around the wonderful world of sports, Texas, the University of Texas, has fired their athletic director, Steve Patterson. Patterson, who apparently, and I quote, ruffled feathers in Austin. You can't ruffle feathers in Austin. Was arrogant and aloof, according to certain reports that came out earlier today. So look, if you're an athletic director, you have one job. That is it. And that is to keep your boosters happy. Now, most universities have like between 50 and 100 boosters that might call you up as an athletic director at any given time and ask you for tickets or invite you to play golf or invite you out for a cocktail or throw a party for your wife at the local country club. So that's all you have to do. You just got to keep those important boosters happy. And apparently, Steve Patterson didn't get that message. What's ironic is that at the University of Texas, you really only have 3 to 5 people that you need to keep happy. Anyways, so if you can keep 3 to 5 people happy and you want to be an athletic director of a major university, I would clean up that resume and get it off to the University of Texas. Staying in Texas, Bill O'Brien down in Houston is wondering who will be his quarterback. Look, I have to tell you, I have no idea. Like I mentioned earlier, I got some tape. I sent it in. I can throw a nice tight spiral. It's true. And I can move. That being said, Bill O'Brien is not going to tell us who his starting quarterback is going to be, and I don't think it really matters. What does matter is that no matter what happens this year, O'Brien could go 0-16. He could go 0-8 and get canned. It doesn't matter to me. As far as I'm concerned, after watching Bill O'Brien on Hard Knocks and all the swearing and how he handles the players and all of that stuff, he is officially my coach of the year. It doesn't matter. If somebody else goes 16-0 this year, it won't matter to me, Producer Buck. Bill O'Brien is the coach of the year. Hands down, the race is over. All right. So, elsewhere around the National Football League we go. Is the Jim Harbaugh hangover officially over? Now look, as I mentioned, we were at the big game last night. Jim Tomsula took over as the new head coach of the 49ers. There was mass exodus on the player side. You had players that had never played before retiring. You had players that had only played for a year retiring. You had people just leaving. You had coaches leaving, and all sorts of stuff happening. One thing is safe to say, Jim Tomsula knows how to stop Adrian Peterson. He's done it before, and he did it again. Bowman, their linebacker, was phenomenal, and he stuffed Adrian Peterson. In fact, things got so bad for Adrian Peterson that the Vikings actually took him out of the game. That's how bad things got for the Vikes. And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater, what was that? Oh my God. Did you see Teddy Bridgewater last night, Producer Buck? It was, oh my God. It was like that pro day he had when he was trying to get drafted into the National Football League. Teddy threw some passes that haven't landed yet, which is different than Peyton Manning, who throws passes that land 5 feet before they get to you. But still, the 49ers certainly did a good enough job. Carlos Hyde was fantastic last night. And I look for some pretty good things. I'm not claiming that the two-dimensional Colin Kaepernick from Turlock is going to the Super Bowl this year. But I will say this, the 49ers looked better than I thought they would look, and the Vikings looked worse than I had hoped they would look. That being said, I think the Harbaugh hangover is over. in San Francisco, and it will be very curious to watch the rest of the 49er season and see if they can at least go 8-8 or 9-7 on the season. Okay, so the last story of the night has to do with one of my favorite characters in the National Football League. That's right, Chip Kelly. And the Philadelphia Eagles flew into Atlanta to do battle with the Hawks. It was a battle of the birds. So in the battle of the birds, the Atlanta Hawks won the first half, Chip Kelly won the second half, and Atlanta held on to win the game. Look, I think Philadelphia is going to be a good team this year. They certainly will have a shot at the playoffs. And I would look for Chip Kelly to right the ship with this team and do a better job in the coming games, game planning, especially at the start of the game. If they had gotten off to any kind of good start, they would have won that game last night. As for the Atlanta Hawks, a good win. They have now won 8 in a row on opening day, which is is the most of any National Football League team. I'm going in the stats. That's a big stat for you. But the most surprising thing to come out of last night's Philadelphia Eagle Atlanta Falcon game has to be the fact that Sam Bradford didn't get hurt. Now look, I don't want anybody to get hurt, and I'm not looking for anybody to get hurt. But Sam Bradford actually made it through an entire game and did get hurt. What do you think the odds are that he can make it through a quarter of this season without getting hurt? It's going to be a very interesting season. But if they do that, if you can get 5 or 6 games out of Sam Bradford, it might have been a good trade. I love Nick Foles, and I think they made a mistake with that. But it might have been a good trade if you can get Sam Bradford to stay healthy throughout the remainder of the National Football League season. Well, that is it for the SEAT77 Sports Desk. Producer Buck wants me to remind you shamelessly to send your emails into info@seat77.com. We will be reading them on the air tomorrow. Remember, we are on TuneIn Radio now, so subscribe to the big SEAT77 channel there. For the SEAT77 Sports Desk, I am Dave Dabbah, reminding you that all news is real. Let's try that one more time. I'm Dave Dabbah, reminding you that not all news is real. Some of it is fake. And good luck, North America.